Have you ever heard a story so terrifying, so inexplicable, that it lingers in the back of your mind long after you've heard it? Urban legends have a way of embedding themselves into our fears, twisting reality until you're left questioning what is truly possible. What if I told you that some of the world's most chilling urban legends aren't just stories, but echoes of real events? Every country has its own sinister tales passed down through generations, warnings meant to keep us safe, or mysteries that refuse to be forgotten. Some of these urban legends are so eerily similar, despite originating from opposite ends of the world, that one has to wonder, could there be a deeper, more terrifying truth to them? What you are about to read are not just stories. They are real encounters, whispered in hushed tones, told by those who have lived to tell the tale. Prepare yourself, because once you enter this world of unexplained phenomena, there is no turning back. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It started like any other late-night drive. I was coming home from a long shift, exhausted but eager to reach my bed. The road stretched on, dark and empty, with only the hum of my engine for company. That was until I saw her, a lone figure standing by the roadside, her pale dress fluttering in the cold wind. I slowed down. Something about her seemed off. Her long hair covered her face, her arms wrapped tightly around herself as if warding off an unseen chill. Against my better judgment, I pulled over. "Are you okay?" I called out. She nodded and stepped closer, her face still hidden. "Can you take me home?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. I hesitated. Every instinct screamed at me to drive away, but I unlocked the door. As she slid into the seat, a deep cold filled the car, making me shiver. I glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Her head was turned towards the window, unmoving. "Where do you live?" I asked, my voice uneasy. She murmured an address not too far away. I pressed the gas, eager to be rid of this unsettling presence. The silence in the car was suffocating. As we neared the location, I turned to tell her we had arrived, but the seat was empty. The cold remained. The faint scent of flowers filled the air. My hands trembled as I looked ahead. In the dim glow of the streetlights, I saw it, a weathered gravestone with her name carved into the stone. I slammed the accelerator, leaving the graveyard and whatever had ridden with me behind. The black-eyed children. It was nearly midnight when I heard the knock at my door, a slow, deliberate tapping that sent a chill up my spine. I wasn't expecting anyone. Hesitantly, I peered through the peephole. 2 children stood outside. Their heads were tilted downward, their clothes old-fashioned, almost out of place. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. "Can we come in?" one of them asked, their voice monotonous, devoid of any emotion. I gripped the doorknob, something inside me screaming not to let them in. "Where are your parents?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Please," the other whispered. "We can't come in unless you invite us." A wave of nausea rolled over me. I stepped back. That's when they lifted their heads. Their eyes were pitch black. No whites, no pupils, just darkness. My breath hitched. Every primal instinct inside me screamed to run. I slammed the door shut, locking every bolt, every chain. The knocking continued for what felt like hours. Then silence. The next morning they were gone. But I knew they would come again. They always do. The cursed doll. There was something unsettling about the old doll my grandmother gave me. She claimed it had been in the family for generations, but I had never seen it before. The moment I touched it, an unease settled in my chest. It had glassy blue eyes that seemed too lifelike, too aware. That night, I placed it on the shelf, turning it to face away from my bed. But when I woke up, it was staring right at me. I tried to ignore it, but strange things began happening. Soft giggles in the middle of the night. The sound of tiny footsteps across my room. My belongings moved when I wasn't looking. One night I awoke to find it on my pillow, inches from my face. I screamed, grabbing the doll and shoving it into a box. I buried it deep in my closet, locking it away. The next morning it was back on my shelf. I burned it that evening, watching as the flames consumed its porcelain face. But as the fire crackled, I swore I heard it laughing. And that night, as I lay in bed, I felt something watching me. The Whispering Woods. They say there's a stretch of forest outside my town where people disappear. I never believed it, until I went in. It was supposed to be a harmless camping trip with friends. The first night was uneventful, but the second night changed everything. The whispers started after midnight. Low, hushed voices coming from the trees. We shone our flashlights, but saw nothing. Then the footsteps began. Heavy, deliberate, circling our campsite. We called out, but there was no response, only the growing sense that we were being watched. I turned to my friend beside me, only to find him pale, wide-eyed.
"They're here," he whispered.
I didn't ask who. I didn't want to know. We ran. Through the darkness, branches slashing at our skin, breath ragged. The whispers followed, growing louder, closer. By the time we reached the edge of the forest, the sun was rising. The whispers stopped, but the feeling remained. I never went back. Some things are better left unexplored. Urban legends have been told for centuries, spreading fear across cultures and generations. But what if they aren't just stories? What if the things we fear most truly exist, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? The next time you hear a story too terrifying to be real, remember, sometimes the truth is far scarier than fiction.